We're going to begin this morning with the race for the White House today. Voters in the Granite State will head to the polls and cast their ballots in the first in the nation primary.
The Republican primary is now down to a two-person race between former President Donald Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. The former South Carolina governor is trailing in the polls, but looking to shrink that gap, especially after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropped out of the race on Sunday. As for Trump, the former president won the first big contest last week, the Iowa caucuses, cementing his status as the frontrunner for the GOP nomination. Haley came in third place, 2 points behind DeSantis.
We have our first results in already from New Hampshire. Voters in the town of Dixville Notch cast their ballots just after midnight. All 6 registered voters cast their ballots for Nikki Haley. The community has a tradition of first-in-the-nation voting that dates back to 1960.
For more on what we can expect today, we're joined by NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray and NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. Let's begin, though, with NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns, who joins us now from Goffstown, New Hampshire. Dasha, good morning. So the candidates have spent really the last week touring the Granite State, looking to gain support ahead of the primary. It is an uphill climb for Nikki Haley. So what was her final message to voters ahead of today's vote, and what can we expect from the candidates today?
Well, Joe, the polls just opened here in Goffstown. Voters already making their choices. And in the live free or die state of New Hampshire, it is do or die for Nikki Haley. This is her absolute best chance at trying to stop Donald Trump's march to the nomination. But as you said, it is an uphill climb. She's been barnstorming the state, holding 5+ events every day, retail stops and rallies. And in a change of strategy, she's been gaggling with reporters, which is something that was rare for her previously. And she's been trying to make that contrast between her and the former president. Some of her favorite lines are comparing the chaos of the Trump world to the sort of more traditional Republican platform that she has. And she's been calling for new generational leadership and starting to call into question his mental competency, really starting to sharpen her tone on former President Trump in these final hours. Take a listen to some of her closing message.
So what I will say to Donald Trump is, if you have that political elite, you can have them. Because that's never who I wanted to work for. I always wanted to serve the people. But I'll say this, if you've got to lie to win, you don't deserve to win. It's that simple.
And you'll get more into this with John and Mark, but she is hoping to capture that independent, that moderate vote here in New Hampshire. And because of that, you know, we've seen the polling, but it can be unpredictable because we just don't know how many of those independents are going to show up, choose a Republican ballot and cast their vote for Nikki Haley. But given Ron DeSantis dropped out and endorsed former President Trump, that does make that hill a little steeper for Haley.
Absolutely. John, let's bring you in now. Former President Trump, he's been spending some time on the campaign trail in New Hampshire this past week. Also, though, balancing those days in court as well. What is the state of the Trump campaign heading into today's vote?
I mean, the state of the Trump campaign right now, at least as far as the primary goes, is that they're in a very good mood. They can read the polls not only, and I think Mark will talk a little bit about this, not only does Trump have a big lead, but the tracking polls show that growing over the course of this week. Former President Trump is talking about unity in the Republican Party, which has a dual purpose. One is to try to make it hard for Nikki Haley to attack him. If she attacks him, she is then attacking unity in the Republican Party, and also an attempt to pivot to the general election and try not to spend any more money dispatching of his last remaining foe. So they're in a pretty good mood. I think they understand that if they win New Hampshire, Dasha was talking about an uphill mountain for Nikki Haley, that becomes not a little hill, but more like Mount Everest for her.
Yeah, so Mark, let's talk about the polls. We know Mr. Trump has maintained a lead in the polls for months, even in New Hampshire, which is more independent-minded. What can you tell us about some of the final polling data as voters head to the ballot box today? What's standing out? Has anything changed in the closing days?
Yeah, Joe, over the course of the past week, Donald Trump has maintained a consistent double-digit lead in all of the polls. And in fact, according to that Suffolk tracking poll, his lead has actually increased over Nikki Haley over the past week. What the good news for her is that she leads among those independent voters that Dasha was just talking about. They make up the largest share of voters in the New Hampshire electorate. And she's been leading them by about 15, 20 points or so. The bad news for her is that Donald Trump's lead among registered Republicans, the other half or more of the electorate, is backing him by a greater share. And so for Haley to be able to pull off the upset tonight, given that her being behind in the polls, she's got to win those independent voters by a wider margin than Donald Trump ends up winning registered Republicans. And right now, the polling, as John ended up mentioning, that makes it seem like a very uphill climb, but we'll have to wait and see what happens tonight.
Mark, quick question. Just historically, how good is polling in New Hampshire? Does it tend to capture what's going to happen, or does that independent streak come out in maybe unpredictable ways sometimes?
Joe, it's difficult, and not only trying to get the independent versus Republican share right, but also it's important to note that so many events end up happening as you get to the New Hampshire primary. You just have the concluded Iowa caucuses. You have candidates start dropping out. There is a lot of volatility, but the polls heading into tonight have showed a consistent story, and that is Donald Trump ahead.
All right. Mark, John, Dasha, thank you all for kicking us off this hour. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, this fall, we could see our first presidential rematch in the general election since the 1950s, when Dwight Eisenhower and Adlai Stevenson faced off twice. But as NBC News chief political analyst Chuck Todd explains, voters in New Hampshire are not excited about another showdown between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Across New Hampshire, voters are feeling fed up.
I just don't understand where my party is right now.
Reed and Nancy Panicetti have lived and voted in Amherst for 25 years.
This is one of the first ones that I can really recall there's a winner being crowned before the race has happened.
All of a sudden, you feel like, oh my God, the race could end here.
Yes, but hopefully not.
Nancy, like nearly 40% of New Hampshire voters, is an independent. In this state, independents outnumber Democrats and Republicans, like her husband Reed. They are both desperate for something new.
I will always be a Republican, but I am slowly losing my party, and I want to know how I can get it back.
Are you ready to accept this binary choice of Trump versus Biden, or are you hopeful something else happens?
Still hopeful.
What is that? What are you hoping for?
That it's not Donald Trump.
With so many New Hampshire independent voters dreading the idea of a Biden-Trump rematch, some are holding out hope for a viable third party or independent challenger.
The Democratic Party has become far too liberal for me. The Republican Party has become far too conservative.
In Milford, New Hampshire, independent Kathy Carson feels politically homeless.
I'm open to a third party candidate.
You want to kick the tires on a third candidate, see if there's something there.
If Biden and Trump are my choices, yeah.
That frustration with this year's political offerings is echoed at Yankee Bowling Lanes in Manchester.
I can't pull the lever for somebody that I don't believe in.
You would like new people.
New people, fresh minds, fresh ideas.
That's the best we got. Come on now.
But amidst the political despair, we did still find some hope.
Would you describe our politics as broken?
Misled.
It's not broken. This is what democracy is about.
That's what democracy is about.
It's just kind of off track a little bit.
Yeah.
We just need to bring it back on track.
I like it. You got a little bit of optimism.
You have to. You have to.
Chuck Todd, NBC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
And we will have live coverage from New Hampshire throughout the day here on NBC News Now. Don't go anywhere. And a programming reminder, we will bring you the results as they come in. Our colleagues Kristen Welker, Tom Yamas, and Hallie Jackson will break down the race. Our primary night coverage begins tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific.
Let's turn to the growing legal battle in Georgia. The district attorney who's prosecuting former President Trump for alleged election interference is now facing questions of her own. It all centers on an alleged relationship with a special prosecutor who she appointed in that case. NBC News correspondent Blaine Alexander explains.
She is one of the nation's most recognizable local prosecutors, charging former President Donald Trump and 18 others with election interference in Georgia. But Fulton County DA Fani Willis is facing a separate court battle of her own, involving allegations she financially benefited from a romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, a high-profile member of the team prosecuting Trump. Willis is now fighting a subpoena to testify in Wade's divorce proceeding. A judge ordered those divorce records unsealed. It all stems from a bombshell court filing by Trump co-defendant Michael Roman, questioning the process by which Willis hired Wade and alleging Wade used money earned from the DA's office to fund vacations with Willis without providing direct evidence. A separate filing by lawyers for Wade's estranged wife included credit card records showing Wade purchased airline tickets for himself and Willis to travel together. All of it is giving new fuel to critics of the Georgia election interference case.
These are corrupt people.
Willis has not responded to the allegations, but appeared to defend Wade while speaking at a recent Martin Luther King Day celebration.
I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do. They only attacked 1.
Meanwhile, Willis called the subpoena an attempt to harass her. How do you respond to her allegations?
It wouldn't matter who she is and what position she holds. If she's having an affair with my client's husband and he's spending my client's money on that relationship, I'm going to find out about it.
And a judge has given Willis until February 2nd to respond to those allegations in a written court filing. Her office tells us she plans to do so. Back to you.
All right, Blaine, thank you.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Dani Savalos. Dani, always good to have you with us. So let's start right there. She's saying that this is this attempt to harass her. She is fighting the subpoena to testify in divorce proceedings. Under what circumstances might she get out of testifying?
Here's her argument. The parties, the husband and wife, already determined that their marriage was irretrievably broken. So therefore, Fani Willis doesn't have any interesting evidence to add because the issue of the divorce is already resolved. I think that's a long shot. I think I'm going to let you in on a little secret of the rules of evidence. Even if they argue irrelevance, it really comes down to a judge saying, do I really find this super interesting and would I like to hear more? And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Fani Willis is going to be able to quash this subpoena or stop any further public discovery in this case.
So the big picture here, the thing that is getting most of our attention, what could this do to the Georgia election interference case? In a way, could this just derail that whole case?
It could. Now, this has been framed as basically a motion to dismiss the prosecution because the prosecutors may or may not be running around and dating. And that's not exactly accurate. It's really a two-pronged motion. And the main prong is far bigger a threat to this prosecution. It goes like this. The special prosecutor is a private citizen who was brought on and hired. And the argument is that he was not appointed properly. And if he wasn't appointed properly, then the indictment itself is fatally flawed. As a motive piece of evidence, the motion then adds, if not dismissed, then these two prosecutors should be disqualified because of this appearance of impropriety. So it's really a two-pronged motion. Either prong could really derail. Obviously, if the indictment's dismissed, end of case. But if you fire or get rid of these two prosecutors or even the entire DA's office, that could completely derail this case without officially dismissing it.
Dani, if we could switch gears here in New York, the Carroll defamation damages case that we're watching. It was postponed because of some COVID concerns. It was supposed to get back underway yesterday. Does the delay change anything? What are you going to be looking for when it does come back?
No delay is going to change much in this case because this is going to move lightning fast compared to every other Donald Trump case. And that's because the issues have been narrowed to really a pinhole of facts that come in this case. It's really just about damages and punitive damages. So Donald Trump's bad behavior is relevant. Don't be surprised if Donald Trump has been floating the idea that he would testify, and then he changes his mind because by doing so, he's sent the other side into burning all their resources, staying up all weekend, preparing for cross-examination. I will neither confirm nor deny that I have done something similar myself in cases. Lawyers do it all the time. It's strategy. But if he does testify, he really runs the risk of drawing the ire of a judge who has no sense of humor about contempt.
All right, Dani Savalos, thank you very much.
In a victory for the Biden administration, the Supreme Court ruled that Border Patrol agents can remove razor wire put in place along a stretch of the southern border in Texas.
Yeah, the wire installed near the Rio Grande River is the latest effort from Texas Governor Greg Abbott to prevent migrants from entering the country illegally. The Supreme Court's narrowly divided ruling came after an emergency request from the Biden administration that argued the wire was endangering migrants while preventing law enforcement from patrolling the area.
NBC News Supreme Court reporter Lawrence Hurley joins us now with more on this. Lawrence, good morning. So first, tell us how the Supreme Court ruled, and it's a short order, but what do you believe went into their decision?
Sure. So good morning to everyone. This is an interesting case because we don't really know, the reasoning behind what the court did. There's no description of the grounds on which they ruled. There's no description on why the 4 justices who dissented disagreed with the ruling. What we know is the arguments that were made, which is the Biden administration saying, Immigration is a basic federal function. The state doesn't have a role in this. The state can't stop Border Patrol agents from carrying out their duties, whereas the state was saying this was basically trespass. The Border Patrol was going on private land, cutting through property that wasn't theirs, and that under Texas law, that's trespass, and they wanted to stop them from doing that.
Following the ruling, what were the reactions from both the state and the Biden administration?
Well, as you can imagine, you know, it's hard to separate the politics from this, from the law. And, you know, kind of predictably, the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was saying, you know, this is just another example of the Biden administration's policy of open borders and encouraging illegal immigration, whereas the Biden administration is saying, you know, this is just a basic attempt to allow the Border Patrol to do their jobs, and the state doesn't have any role in that. And of course, Republicans more broadly are supporting Texas because they see this as a sort of wedge issue heading into the election this year.
So let's talk about the impact of this. We know there are a lot of battles right now between the White House and Texas. This ruling, could it have an impact on future legal battles along the border, or is it very specific to this one issue they addressed here?
Well, there may be a little bit of overlap here, just because, you know, what you do have is a Supreme Court decision now on a 5-4 vote saying that the court is recognizing the federal government's, you know, supremacy, as it were, in over immigration issues, which is a long-standing tradition. And so, you know, that might mean Texas has struggles with some other cases like this that come up if the court's going to kind of endorse that broader theory, even though if in specific cases, you know, that might not hold true. But I think we'll wait to see on that one.
Yeah, for example, there was also this case going on, the buoys that were placed in the Rio Grande to also prevent those crossings, part of this immigration enforcement plan that's called Operation Lone Star. The Biden administration had sued the state for that as well. Where do things stand with that case?
Again, that's another one where there's a lot of litigation going on, and it's kind of gone back and forth, where initially courts said that you know, the buoys had to be removed, but just last week an appeals court, federal appeals court, said it was going to rehear that case, and so in the meantime the buoys can remain. So that's another battle which, you know, quite clearly could end up at the Supreme Court as well at some point. All
right, Lawrence Hurley, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you.
Well, a state of emergency has been declared in San Diego after the third storm in 4 days brought flash floods and extreme rains on Monday. Look at this. It was the scene as residents scrambled to find shelter yesterday. There were no reports of injuries or deaths, though, as a result of the flash flooding. According to the National Weather Service, it was the wettest January day on record in San Diego. Thankfully, experts say this is likely the last storm of its size to hit the region during the rainy season.
Let's get the latest on the forecast with NBC meteorologist Bill Cairns.
He is tracking everything for us this morning. Hi, Bill. Good morning. Great to have you here with us.
Hey, great to see you guys. And that San Diego stuff was wild. So in 6 hours, they had almost 3 inches of rain. To put that in kind of perspective, that's a quarter of their yearly rainfall in 6 hours. So that's why that was so extreme flooding. I mean, that would have been flooding almost anywhere in the country, especially Southern California, though. So this weather map looks like a little kid's been sitting here coloring it in all different sorts of markers and colors. And all that means to me is that we have a lot of winter weather out there. We have ice, we got sleet, we got snow, we got rain. And it's just a mess from Chicago to Detroit and now starting to spread through Pennsylvania and western New York. That's why we have winter weather advisories up for 54 million people because of this wintry mix. This is not a big ice storm. It's not a big snowstorm, but just a little glaze of ice. Probably has a lot of school delays throughout the northern Indiana, Ohio, southern Michigan, and we could even get some early dismissals out of this if this ice glaze happens around Scranton, Binghamton, the southern tier of New York. And this is where our computers are pinpointing the heaviest amounts of icing during the day today, just north of State College, the southern tier of New York heading into the Catskills, a little bit here through Connecticut, too. Not enough for power outages, just some icy roads and untreated surfaces. Not a lot of snow out of this either. Some in Michigan, about an inch. That's everywhere in white has a chance of about an inch of snow, including areas of northern Connecticut and New Hampshire. Now, New Hampshire is not going to be, by their standards, a big deal. This is going to be late this afternoon through this evening where we're going to see some areas of light snow, especially the southern half of the state, maybe an inch at most. Notice all the bigger cities here, Lebanon, Woodstock, Conway, Manchester, all well above freezing. So for that reason, we're thinking this will not affect turnout whatsoever throughout the region. So for the forecast for today, foggy in the middle of the plains, very foggy. So careful traveling there. That rain is going to break out later on today throughout areas of Texas into Louisiana and eventually into Alabama and Mississippi. Flood threat in these areas. It rained hard yesterday. Another 2 to 4 inches tonight could cause some real flash flood problems. And then rainy weather where it's been icy later today. So that'll help out. And then finally, our forecast for your Wednesday. We are going to be watching temperatures kind of borderline once again in areas here throughout the Midwest. So we could see a little bit more of icy weather throughout areas from, I'd say, anywhere from Milwaukee back down through Iowa. In the Northeast, the big warm-up is on the way. I know you guys have been waiting for it. It does look like it. No?
I like it.
You liked it when it was wind chill of 0?
Yeah.
You were out there like,
I like it, and I like the snow, and I just want winter to feel like winter. And isn't a bunch of rain coming with that? Ugh.
Yeah.
So you'd rather cold than rain?
But it's after the rain we get the kind of a warm up, right? The rain comes through and then
a little bit of both
like
at the
a
same
little
time.
bit of warm. Okay.
Yeah, doesn't that sound just?
I think I know Savannah, and then all of a sudden she surprises me.
I also just like, when you are complaining about your shoveling and just.
I haven't complained a lot in the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Hasn't snowed.
I know. It's been scary.
Perfect.
All right, Phil, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.